There we go. Now I'm live. All right. So I've never scheduled a stream before, properly, I guess, and even now I'm still failing at it. I thought we were live, and it just there was a thing that said "go live" on my screen. So, anyways, I poured this because I thought you guys were watching. I'm not going to pour it again. Let's just say that we poured it, and here it is. I'm doing the monkey shoulder today. Welcome to Getting Lit. It's me, Tommy, the person who live streams once in a while. Need to, we're all still figuring out certain things once in a while, and for me, I'm trying to figure out this live stream thing. Here we are. So today's lighting is a little bit dark. I think actually maybe a little bit too dark. I could either bump the ISO or I could turn things up a notch. I think I'm going to turn things up a notch. Let's go bluer. A little bit bluer and yeah. That's a little bit better. All right. So, no, that's too much. Forget it. I'll just put my head in front of it. No, I don't want to change it again. Whatever. All right. We're fine. So let's talk. So today we're using the Light Panels Gemini for the blue over here, and that was that's still one of my favorites just because the user interface is just so fantastic. They've got all these presets on there, a bunch of little buttons on the back. In fact, I should probably just show you. We'll do that later. So there's a bunch of presets on the back of the Light Panels Gemini. If you've never used it, there's 6 programmable presets on the back. So you can, similar to the Aperture Nova, if you've done any learning about what that thing does. Gemini had it first. There's 6 presets. You can set them to all the customized special effects. Even the fan mode is customizable, and you just hold it down for a couple seconds, then it saves those presets. And then there's a little toggle over to white mode. And then you can, so there's 6 white, like from 2700 Kelvin up to like 8000 Kelvin. And then, so there's a toggle between just use the white presets and then your own custom presets. So I really like the Light Panels Gemini for that. It's also got a great color quality, and it's just a really easy to use light. And then behind me, we've got the Aperture Nova. I was messing with that for the orange, and that's going to give me that nice orange outline behind me. And over here for just a little flash of white, I've got the Lupo Super Panel Full Color 60 with the grid, just because that's the one that I've got on my wheels, and it's just easy to roll around the studio. You don't always have to use all the lights the same each way. That's just how I'm using this one today. And then for Whiskey Shot camera over here, we've got one of the little Nan lights. One of these guys. Boom. Just the Lidolite 5Cs, because they work really well. They're lightweight, they hold the charge for a long time, and it's just a nice way to get a nice little splash of color over there. So that's what we're using. Those are our lights for today, and we've got some interesting stuff to talk about. Yeah, I tried scheduling this one ahead of time, but then I still only set it up at the very last minute anyways. Hey, we got David Gonzalez. Thanks for showing up, man. Jake, I haven't had any yet. I just poured it on the previous version of the live stream that I thought was actually live, but it wasn't. First time I scheduled one. The future ones will all be scheduled, so it'll work out. You won't miss the pour. Aaron, this stream is where Tommy learns the difference between on-air button and the Adam Go Live button on YouTube. Honestly, it makes no sense. Someone should do a video about this. You know what, Aaron? The way I've been doing my live streams is I'll set them up on YouTube's stream, not the scheduled interface, but the actual interface, and then I hit save. And then as soon as I hit the go live button, then my stream goes live. I have to manually, before I hit that button, go in and upload the thumbnail, set up the description and everything. But if I had a fixed description and a fixed thumbnail, kind of like what Photo Joseph does with live every Tuesday and then just his face, that button would work for that, right? You just hit go live and then you're live with all your settings and it sends it straight to YouTube. That's something you could do. That's the way I've been doing it. But with the scheduled streams, it looks like when you hit go live, you then have the preview button, which then you have to actually click go live on YouTube's interface. So those are two different kind of situations. I think that it's kind of weird. I mean, if you took all the time to set up the stream key properly, it should just go live when you hit go live, or it should be a setting. Anyways, Photo Joseph, hi Aaron. Yeah, it's there to protect us from ourselves. True that. Should I tell him it's pronounced Atem and not Adam, or do you want to? You know what? I'm gonna call it whatever I want. I spent the money. I can do that, right? It's called Adam. It's Adam the streamer. That's what it is. Atem. It seems like you're stuttering when you say Atem, like you tripped over your own words. Your tongue fell out of your mouth while you're trying to say Adam. So that's what I call it. Photo Joseph has a different thumbnail every week because it has a date in it, which is way more work than I'm willing to do. You know, Aaron, I would think that you would automate that. You know, as soon as you hit go live, just figure out the date and then, you know, write it in there with, FFmpeg or something. That's a setting in YouTube. All right. So per the title, I ordered the RED Komodo, or RED Komodo. I'm just going to pronounce everything the way that I want to, right? Because I'm not actually a professional cinematographer, so it doesn't really matter how I say it, right? I'm probably going to be the least qualified person in the world to own a RED cinema camera. That's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to buy it, right? We're always talking about you should buy lights on my stream, so I went and sold a bunch of lights and then bought a RED. So that's why would I do that? Well, first off, I didn't sell all of my lights. I sold a few of my lights that I haven't picked up in a year, right? Or just lights that I had no further use for. Stuff that essentially I was tripping over in my studio, because as a tech reviewer, a person that reviews all this equipment, companies do send me equipment to review, and I do my best to create content around it or integrate it into my studio. But once that equipment retires from my content, it's just a pile of equipment at that point. And so I've taken some of that equipment that earned value and converted it into money to then buy a RED cinema camera, the RED Komodo or Komodo, however you want to pronounce it. And I bought it simply, am in the process of buying it. It's on order. Once it gets here, I'm going to use it to show people you don't need to buy an expensive camera. And that's why I bought it, to show you that you don't need it, because you can create stellar images with cheap cameras. But in order to put my money where my mouth is, or create that type of content to show that you don't need that expensive camera, I had to have one to prove that I wasn't just saying that because I didn't have one. Like, I'm just jealous of the RED owners. So we've got one on the way to the studio. And I've got one more thing to show you that I think you might get a kick out of. This is going to be fun. So this right here, as you all know, I really like the Nikon Z6, but this is the last time you're going to see the Z6 on my channel, because I've got a buyer coming this weekend to pick it up. And I've already sold off the Nikon 14-30 to another person. And that's right here. Let's put this in the frame. This is my A7S III money. I'm going to be picking up the A7S III and the RED Komodo. And then I'm going to be comparing them to super cheap cameras with great lights. We're going to make some content. We're going to make some videos. $10,000 camera versus $10,000 of lights. I think that's going to be really fun. I said that I was going to do it last week, and so I just went ahead and did it. That's what we're doing. We're going to make some really fun stuff in the next few weeks. All right. Let's go through some of these comments. Good point. Should automate that. Does YouTube let you go live at 4K? Yes, David, it does. But the difference in, I don't know, the last time I went live with a 4K stream, the delay was like over a minute. I don't know. That was a couple years ago. Maybe it's faster now, but 1080p is just way faster for interaction with reading through comments. Nils, thanks for showing up, man. Like always. Here. You've been to every one of my streams, and I appreciate that. You get a cheers. Thanks a lot, Nils. You're awesome. Put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Komodo, atem, doesn't matter. What lens for the red? Okay, so here's great. This is really great. So for the red, I am just going to take the Sigma 18-35 off of my GH5, stick it on the red. I think you can't get a better value for your dollar than the Sigma 18-35 1.8. I got mine used years ago when I got my GH5 brand new, my first real camera. And that's still the lens that I use on everything with the Viltrox cheapo speed booster. It's just going to leave the GH5 and enter the red. And that's the thing. When you go to cinema glass, I mean, the Sigma 18-35 T 2.0, it doesn't have any better image quality than the Photo Sigma 18-35 Art 1.8. They have the same glass. It's the same image quality. They have different build and different features, like built-in parfocal, the focus gears, weather sealing. It's just a different level of build quality and features. And I did all the research because I want to have the best image quality I can on the red when it gets here, obviously. But I already have the glass to do it, so I don't actually have to spend any money on lenses, which is awesome. Of course, I want to get a macro lens for it because I think that'll be cool. But we'll get there when we get there. I've already got the glass. Let's see. I think Tommy is doing right by featuring solid whiskey bourbon choices. Thank you, David. Appreciate that. Quote, I'm not actually a professional cinematographer, so I'm going to pronounce it however I want. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that. That's quote me. Cinematographer. That's what it is. I'm a cinematographer. This is like the most elaborate troll. I love it. Thank you. Appreciate that. It's taken a long time to get here, accumulating all the value to look like I'm selling off my equipment to buy cameras when I told everybody don't buy cameras. And then I went and bought all the cameras. But in reality, it's just to start teaching people about lights because let's be honest, guys, we talked about this. Nobody Googles or is searching for or trying to learn about lighting if they don't already know about it. So the only way to introduce people to good lighting and to improve their image quality is by creating content that people are searching for. So yeah, I'm going to compare some of these new cameras to iPhones and see how close we can get to the iPhone image quality because everybody has an iPhone in their pocket, right? The audience for iPhones and mobile phones cameras is global. But the audience for a $4,000 niche RGB WW LED panel is like a subset of cinematographers, which is gaffers and gaffers that have a budget to buy lights. I mean, that's like 12 people. The audience for people that have phones that want to take better pictures and better videos is everybody. So I need to create that kind of content. So that's kind of where I'm going to try and teach people and educate people about lighting. Is I need to cast a bigger net, and that's something that I've realized recently. So anyways, yes, world's most elaborate troll. Really, it's I need to get better at clickbait, and I'm finally trying to take the steps to do that. But if you're going to be clickbaiting, you have to also have the cameras that you're clickbaiting, hence Red and Sony. Ooh, I like that. That's a good approach. Thanks, Photo Joseph. 10K lights versus $10 camera is gold. No. 10K lights versus 10K cameras. Not $10. I mean, yeah, $10 camera. Maybe get one of those cheap waterproof GoPros or whatever. Don't stream in 4K. Lost the K. Yeah, you saw what you did there. All right. Let's have a cheers here. Boom. Catch up on some of these comments. Oh, and if any of you guys steal my ideas, you have to tag me, because I don't know if any of you guys in this stream have access to a RED Komodo yet. But if you do it before me, I'll be really mad. But not that mad, because that's another thing. I don't think stealing other people's ideas on YouTube is actually stealing ideas. I think that it's additive, right? So if I create a piece of content that has, I think it's just a great idea, and then some other person with 400,000 plus subscribers or whatever makes like a very similar video, very similar title, very similar topic, that's only going to help my channel. One, I did it first, and two, it'll be the first video that's recommended or suggested if I did a good job making that video. If the watch time and the retention and the CTR on my video is better than that 400,000 plus subscriber person video, my video will grow faster than his, or I'll get much more runoff traffic, and then I'll only grow from that. So, if you're going to take my ideas, that's fine. I'll still win, because I'm going to make some awesome content. I'm in Portland, Oregon. Yeah, what? My brother was just on the stream with me. He gets up at 4 a.m. for that. Oh, that's nice. I thought Tommy was going to go for the trade up thing. No, I'm not trading up. No, I'm gonna keep, if I buy a brand new Komodo, which I am, I'm never selling it. That's mine. Like, come on. You own a RED, you can't let it go. That's like every hobbyist YouTuber's dream camera, right? I'm probably the only person, like I said, I'll be the least qualified person to own a RED camera, or the least appropriate person that I don't require one. This is a hobby. This is fun, right? I talk about lights, and I have plenty of equipment. Working with a RED camera is simply a challenge for myself, and maybe a bit of education, because maybe there's something I don't know, right? Maybe that RED camera is just those R3D raw files, being able to change your ISO in post, and all that stuff. Maybe it's just amazing, and maybe there's something that you can't get with lights there, which there's compression and there's colors. Oh, I'm probably going to piss off the entire RED community when I do some of my stuff, like Sony a7S III to RED Komodo conversion LUTs, because the bit depths are different and the color science is different. I'm going to try and make those LUTs. I'm also going to try and make iPhone to RED Komodo footage conversion LUTs, just because I think it's going to be funny. But no one else is going to do that, because they don't want to lampoon themselves in the community as the person that's like, why is this person doing that? But I'm going to be that person. I'm going to try it. Is it even possible? I'm going to see how close you can get to matching footage from these other incredible incredible cameras that are being released these days. See how far you can get them, and see how far do you need to push that footage to make it match, and when should you just realize that you should have just bought lights instead of your $10,000 camera, right? Because it's all gonna come back to lights, right? Lights are where it's at. But I want to be able to put my money where my mouth is and just actually have the cameras. So when I say, oh, it's just lights, it's not because I don't have the camera. It's because that's the facts. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. Tommy, you need to upgrade your clickbait game. Yeah, thanks, Jake. I really do. I've been on this platform for much too long, and nobody's looking for lights. So we're going to fix that. The only reason Apple iPhone ads look so good is because the lighting can't beat physics. There we go. It's physics, right? You have a camera. I'm looking into one right now. Behind that piece of glass is a sensor. That sensor, it has one job, and that's to record light. So why don't people put some of the good stuff in front of it, right? A camera sensor records light. You should have lights. It's like the easiest sell ever to start teaching people about lights, Like, well, what about the sun? The sun's light. Yeah, the sun is light. It's also the brightest freaking light there is. It's the best quality light, and you can use it for about 6 hours a day when there's no clouds. You got to buy lights, right? If you're limiting, I can only do my streams here at 10 p.m. Can't use sunlight I mean, maybe, on a full moon with a good mirror and some high ISO, maybe. But I'm not doing that here with sunlight. Yeah, Tommy, you're going to be bigger than me before I know it. Thanks, Photo Joseph. I hope so. That would be awesome, because you are like the go-to guy for streaming other than Aaron. You two guys really are the go-to guys for streaming. I'd love to be bigger than you. That'd be fantastic. Missing out. Let's get the whiskey shot here. You can put the A7S III money back there for anyone tuning in, because we're getting one of those too. Rocky Mountain River reviewer says, Tommy, what is your biggest reasons for choosing the Komodo? Well, that is a good question. The RED Komodo, or Komodo, well, I'm a cinematographer, right? It has a global shutter. And if I'm going to be teaching people about lights and lighting and the importance of high quality lights, it's also important to have a global shutter, because one of the big things with cheap lights is flicker. And something you can do with a global shutter is more easily correct for that. It records the entire frame of the entire time. Global shutter isn't just to fix the rolling shutter effect when you're moving and panning really fast. It also has a large impact on lights with a slow frequency. You get really strange banding and flicker, but you won't get that with a global shutter. And so part of going into understanding expensive cameras and global shutter is lighting. So that's kind of something I've always wanted, was a camera with a global shutter. And RED Komodo has autofocus, so I can use it. So there you go. That's the camera that I'm getting. Let's see. Tell you what you can't do. Get back the time you spent on post-processing. Nils, I hear that the files coming out of the RED are very easy to grade, and you'll actually save time on post-processing. Because I love my X-T3, right? The Fuji X-T3. I just did the firmware update today. The autofocus is apparently way, way better now. It's got X-T4 autofocus in it. But the picture profiles, when you bake in a picture profile to the X-T3, it's baked in. And I love the classic chrome profile, but when I use it, my skin tones, if I want to get accurate skin tones, I just look like a ghost. So sometimes I'll have the wrong picture profile selected on the X-T3 when I'm filming with it, and I can't correct for that. But with the R3D RAW files, you can just change the picture profile, you can change the white balance, you can change the ISO in post-processing with any major editor like DaVinci Resolve. So that seems really exciting to me. And also, apparently all the editors work really well with those R3D RAW files. The compression is not it doesn't bog your computer down. So we'll see. I am a little bit worried about the cost of storage, but I did even more research on how that workflow works in terms of file size and storage. And it's only 70% larger than the files I'm already creating with the regular H.264 files out of the GH5. So I downloaded all the raw files from RED's site, the test files, just to make sure that I wasn't crazy here. So I'll be going from filming in the GH5's 8-bit codec, just 100 megabits or 150 megabits per second or whatever I do, and then going into R3D RAW files. So I'm going to share my experience transitioning from using regular, affordable, indie, mirrorless cameras to a professional R3D RAW workflow and all of the costs associated with that. Fortunately for me, I also have a bunch of VMAP batteries because of my experience reviewing lights. And those VMAP batteries, the ones from Bebob, also are already approved to work with Arri cameras. In fact, Arri is selling them now. So I know that they're going to work really well with RED as well. So there's going to be some other things that I need, like top handles and, CFast cards and CFast readers. There's a few accessories that I'll need, but it's going to be minimal compared to, if I had entered the ecosystem earlier in RED's product line. So I'll be able to understand and explain to you guys the cost associated with entering that type of workflow in terms of storage requirements, the changes from going from that type of workflow to the RED RAW workflow, and all those things associated. I think it's going to be really exciting, and I hope that anyone that's like considering the RED or just like the Sony a7S III will follow along, because that's why I'm getting both. I also want to understand the challenges and the differences between the two. Jake Sloan says, I only get sun for 3 hours a day now, and about 40 minutes of that is any good. Yeah, dude, sunlight, it's unreliable. It's great quality, but unreliable at best. Nils says, Jake, funny thing is, I currently only stream because I have no time for the editing After Effects game, even though I thoroughly enjoy it. That's one of the reasons I do this stream on Wednesday nights, is I didn't have time the past whole week to make a video that I wanted to make that would have taken me 30 minutes to sit down and film, and then another hour to sit down and edit. I just didn't have the time to do that. But this is a nice dedicated little window that I know this is what I'm doing on Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. for an hour, just to kind of connect with you guys and tell you what I'm doing. Maybe someone else is interested in what I'm doing here, and we have some fun together. I really like live streaming for that. I think it's a great little kind of, this is a break, you know? Aaron says, full moon Tommy stream. We could make one happen. I can do moonlight lighting if it's a full moon and there's no clouds. 10 p.m. It depends. It depends if it's humid outside. I don't want those little ankle biter mosquitoes to be around me. I mean, we'll see. Maybe. Jake says, Tommy, see, now when you talk about global shutter and lights with Flickr, I have a whole new respect for you. Well, thank you, Jake. I appreciate that. Agreed. Full moon stream should be a thing. Well, like I said, I am getting that A7S III. We've got the A7S III bundle there. So it might happen. Because, you know, low light, moonlight, all that stuff. You know, I could also just emulate moonlight with some of my lights and be like, this is a moonlight stream, but then like halfway through the stream, show you that it, you know, it's not, like I may be in my garage or something. That'd be kind of fun. Apparently the next full moon is October 31st, which seems appropriate. Yeah, dude, I'm not live streaming on Halloween. I'm going to spend that with my kid. Aaron, at least we know how 2020 ends. Full moon live stream? Maybe. I love how the new A7S III, I filmed with it. David's saying to Jake, I love the new A7S III. I filmed with it with a friend in the dark alleys of LA, and it looked great. David, are you talking about Armando? Armando has a channel. It's the LA Explorer. He goes to like all the anime conventions and stuff. I actually know these guys in real life. They're pretty cool. We worked together a long time ago, kind of like our first jobs after high school, actually. Photo Joseph, you do know you can get 10-bit 422 off the GH5 into the Atomos, right? Yes, Photo Joseph, I know that, and that is going to be another topic for another video that I plan on doing. GH5 Atomos 10-bit 422 versus RED RAW from the RED Komodo. It's going to be in there. I'm going to do all the videos that I wanted to do that I know are going to do really well on the internet. I didn't have the access to the equipment to make them, and there's always going to be information halfway through the videos telling you that lighting is going to make your videos better, and it's going to be a more worthy investment than buying a new camera. Of course, I'm buying the new cameras now, but also I already have lights, right? I have all the lights. I didn't sell all my lights for anyone that's tuning in. I've still got all the lights. And in fact, I've actually got another pile of lights over here from Godox that I need to review in the next month-ish. And then another set of lights from Falcon Eyes. Like, lights are still coming. Lights are still the focus, but we just got to talk about some things that are going to bring some new blood into here, you know? Jake, David says, me too. Jake says, to David, me too. I've been having a blast filming with mine. Yeah, Jake, you've got some really cool footage so far up there in Alaska. Nils, I asked but not sure if I heard the answer. What lens for the Komodo? Yes, the Sigma 18-35, the same lens that I'm using on my GH5. Same glass, same lens. The Cinema Sigma lens, like I said, it's the same image quality as the Sigma 18-35 that we all know and love for super cheap. Just different build quality, different features, the parafocal and all that stuff. So I'll just be using the Sigma 18 to 35 because the RED comes with an RF to EF adapter, and you can use the 18 to 35, and the RED's phase detect autofocus will work with it, as well as the app. I've heard from a friend that also owns the RED Komodo that the app for the RED is amazing. You can the focus wheel and all that, it has like 0 milliseconds of delay. It's incredible. So I'm excited to play with that and try that out. Photo Joseph, hey everyone, give a thumbs up to the video and tweet the show. I appreciate that. Thank you, Photo Joseph. Yeah, give me thumbs up. If you're watching and you're learning stuff, you better be thumbs upping me. Exactly. One of these. Thanks, Photo Joseph. You get a cheers. Victor Siddhartha, I think I pronounced that right. If I didn't, again, I said Komodo, cinematographer, and a couple other weird ones. So anyways, is the AF any good? Looking forward to my review. I will let you know in 4 to 6 weeks when my pre-order arrives. I placed the order yesterday, so they have to build the camera because it's mine. And they don't just build cameras and put them on the shelves like at RED. You have to order them first. When it gets here, we'll talk about that too. What else we got here? Corey, you should have me on as a guest speaker. Corey, what are you doing right now? I'll have you on as a guest. David, yep. Corey is actually a paid cinematographer, a person that actually makes money using expensive cameras. And I know he's a big fan of the Ursa Mini Pros and the Ursa 4Ks, 4.6Ks, and all that stuff. He's a Ursa owner-operator, and he films really cool stuff all over the town. I'd love to hear his perspective on the Komodo. Yeah, I'd love to have you on. Rocky Mountain Reviewer, do you feel like the less popular brands like Godox have enough build quality that could last years of on-location shooting? Is aperture significantly better? Great question. Godox has improved their build quality significantly over the past 2.5 years. Some of their newer stuff, I would say you'd probably be as safe as bringing some of the older Aperture stuff around. However, Aperture's new 300X and the 300D Mark II has a build quality that's a step above all of the other Godox stuff that I've played with. I just got the VL300 in here to play with and review, so I can't speak on it yet. It's still boxed up. So maybe that's changed with the VL series, but as far as I know, if you're trying to decide between like Aperture and Godox for long-term filmmaking, 100% go with Aperture. They've also got a team out here that's, local and can help you. Godox has, from what I know, a purely Asian presence, so you have to like ship stuff overseas. So if you're going for that kind of question, I'd say probably go with Aperture. The newer stuff, particularly the Nova, has just incredible build quality. As Jake Sloan says to Rocky Mountain Reviewer, my SL60 has been doing great for 2 years of daily use. Yeah, if you have it mounted in a studio and it's not moving anywhere, you'll be fine with, pretty much any brand. Godox SL60 is like the light for that. If you don't want to spend a lot of money. But if you're carrying it around, then that's different. On location shooting is different. That the rigors of throwing it into a case, putting it in a backpack, throwing it in a van, having it bump around, dropping it. Aperture makes, I think, a better light for that type of situation. Paul, tuning in from Australia. Thanks for tuning up, Paul. Or tuning in and showing up, Paul. Thank you for doing those things. Let's hold the glass in the frame here. Boom. Well, Aaron, time code. Time zone, not time code. Did I say time code, or did you ask a question to somebody? It's a lot easier to answer questions on this stream if you actually tag me with those questions when you ask them, because I'm just kind of scrolling through the chat, answering it as I see it. Marshall Rosales. You can still run into frequency issues with global shutter. Even film cameras have issues with some fluorescence and computer monitors. You're just not going to have banding. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think I said that that you'll still run into banding, but with a global shutter, you'll just get the flicker. But if I didn't say it, I just thought it really hard. Thank you for correcting me. Aaron, I'm like 80% sure that was an autocorrect fail, but was not confident enough to bet on it. I'll give you that one. Corey Hour, I'm chilling. Down to hop on if you want. Cool. Let's get you on here. How are we going to do this? I have a laptop. You know, I could probably just FaceTime you. That's going to be super ghetto. We can do this. Yeah. I'm going to FaceTime you, Corey. And then you're going to be piped in through audio. And then I'm going to film my screen of me FaceTiming you. And it's going to be super lame. I'm not set up to record my screen. But let's do it. Let's get some real questions in here because I want to hear what you have to say about this thing. I have to put in some real headphones first. So, I'm going to get this guy over here. We're going to ask a real cinematographer what he thinks. No, I'm not using OBS. I'm just piping in directly from the Atom Mini Pro. So we're going to ask a real cinematographer what he thinks about the RED Komodo versus the Ursa Mini stuff that he's been using for the past while now. Let's get this over here. Switchboard, operator. Get you in here. Corey. Photo Joseph says, let's spend some time getting your in-call setup in place. Come to think of it, I should probably do that too. Yeah, it'd be really nice to bring people in here to these streams. But I've got this figured out. We got it. Corey. Let's see. Call him video. Corey, you better not play any copyright music. We're calling him. Use OBS for that. Yeah. Hey, Corey.
Hey, what's going on?
Let me turn you up a bit. Can you guys hear Corey?
Testing 1, 2, 3. I actually have a really nice mic setup. I don't know if it's working right
Dude, yeah, no, we hear you great. You sound perfect.
Oh, great.
Here we go. I'm going to point my whiskey can up at Corey. This is so ghetto, guys.
Hey, man.
Hey, you're on my live stream. Look at you. You're famous. I got to drag the window down. All right, it's going to be super out of sync because he's FaceTiming me. Whatever. We got this. We got Corey over here. Okay.
Right, let me just turn this down already.
All right.
I actually have a live stream set up. I didn't know if you'd have to FaceTime me or if I could just join via YouTube.
No, dude, my live stream piping in callers is super duper ghetto. It's like the worst thing ever. Good. Yeah, all right. So here we go. We've got the audio. We're excellent. So what is your opinion on the RED Komodo versus Blackmagic's current offerings as far as the G2 go?
Well, I have the G2 right now, currently, and that I use majority of the time. The Komodo is something that I've used about 4 times so far. I've used the Stormtrooper one exclusively. So with the software on there, it's definitely still in beta, but there's a lot of functionality in it. We have used the app to control it before. Let me give you the 2 examples we've used the Komodo thus far. So the first time we shot an international commercial for Bell helmets. So we shot some high-speed stuff up in the mountains. We were driving. We had it set up on a Movi Pro in the back of a car, and we were wirelessly viewing it in the cab of the car, tracking shots of a motorcycle rider. He's doing some pretty high-speed stuff. So the Komodo worked in the sense of that it's a very modular camera. It's a nice small form factor. 2 pounds, 4 inches on every single dimension, every single side. It's a great camera, and what many people don't know is that it's actually it was actually developed as a crash cam. That was like one of the biggest motivations for RED bringing that camera. It packages really well with like the Heliums and the other DSM-C2 bodies and the Gemini and the Monstro. So in comparison to the G2, I mean, you just have to give me an example, but I mean, the G2 has things that the Komodo doesn't. The Komodo has things that the G2 doesn't. And one of the biggest, I'd say advantages of the Komodo is its size. You can literally take it with you anywhere. You can throw it in a backpack. You can throw some BP batteries on them. And I was hearing you get about 2.5 hours per battery, and we were actually getting just about that. It helped make our setups a smaller footprint and a lot easier. And it's something like that you can't do with the G2 as easily. So the Komodo has its definite advantages when it comes to the size and the footprint of the actual build. Image quality is pretty great. Yeah, that's something, I still think the G2 for me is that sweet spot of the all-in-one camera. And that's why on productions, I find myself using that a lot.
Does the G2 have global shutter?
It does not. And that's another thing that, yes, another big advantage of the Komodo is when we're doing action shots, we're actually using it again for another big commercial next month. That global shutter is just priceless because, I mean, once you have that in play, you're not getting any of that rolling shutter, any of those issues when you're doing high speed pans or movements or camera moves or just even handheld stuff. So it just keeps your frame 100% stable as far as no rolling shutter goes.
Interesting. So I have a question. Of course, we've got you on the call, right? So if I were to buy a RED Komodo, right? It's $6,000 flat. What is the most recent Ursa G2 cost by itself?
So the G2 is at current, it's $5,995 US.
Same as the Komodo.
It is. But I will tell you, the reason that the G2 shines for me is a couple of reasons. You can record directly to USB-C out of the USB port. You can record to CFast 2. You can record to SD cards. You also get the ability to have full XLR inputs in the back, and it has built-in ND filters. I cannot tell you how
those full XLR ports are important.
Oh, audio is half of the battle.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. The built-in NDs, I think that so RED is also selling their variable ND RF to EF adapter, so that kind of neutralizes that, but that is an extra $500. But that is available, and so that kind of fills that problem. Hey, Photo Joseph, thanks for coming in. See you next time. So true cost of ownership, right, for the Ursa. Do you have to buy monitors and other things?
It has a little bit smaller than in between a 4 and 5 inch screen. I've opted off of that screen and I haven't had any issues. You kind of know what you get. You compare it to the footage afterwards, and you kind of understand what you're getting versus what you're seeing in the monitor. Cost of ownership with the Ursas, you got to buy power, obviously, which is V mounts. V mounts are actually pretty damn affordable nowadays, which is great.
Yeah, the converter for the 2 Canon BP to V mount batteries from Core SXW it's only $200. So you can use V mount on a Komodo for $200.
Yeah, that's really nice. So the reason that I'd say that you'd go that route is because you can also go out the D-tap or USB if the V-mount has that, and it's a lot higher amps, and you can get your monitor, your top side monitor powered, etc. Yeah,
I mean, personally, I have 13 V-mount batteries, so of course I'm not going to buy a bunch of Canon BP batteries.
Hey, I will tell you though, those BP batteries, they last a couple hours each if you get the on-brand ones, the Canon ones, and that's pretty nice. And you can just, those things are tiny. But so is the Bebop batteries that you have.
Yeah, the Bebop 200 that'll power the Komodo for a whole day.
Possibly, dude. I mean, that thing is tiny. It doesn't really draw that much power. They went really smart with letting you use the media that you're able to use, and then letting you use the batteries and even the RF mount. It just opens up so many possibilities for that camera.
So I don't know if you're watching, but I popped myself in through picture-in-picture with the ATEM Mini Pro. So now I'm able to actually interview you, but we're both on the screen. I think our heads,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like the lamest interview setup ever, but you could see our faces and you can hear us pretty good. So, this is more like podcast than anything. It's like a live stream podcast almost, but I'm not trying to go that podcast route.
Hey man, we're making it work. And that's all what filmmaking is about is just making do of what you have at your disposal and having tools. The cost of entry is so low nowadays. It's you have very little excuses, from lighting to cameras to lenses to even post-production. The cost of entry is lowered. So now that is available, you can make cinematic images and cinematic lighting and not have to spend a mortgage on everything. So You know, making do with what you have is like the rite of passage for filmmakers. So that's kind of what you're doing right now yourself.
Dude, this exactly. I mean, so I'm supposed to, plug the HDMI into, one of the Atom ports, and then I'm supposed to like configure the color profile, and then bring that in properly. Aaron, I was on a live stream with Aaron Parecki just like last week, and he has like 2 Atom Mini Pros and like 6 monitors, and I don't know, like just the most ridiculous live stream setup I've ever seen in my entire life. Like he's trying to record NFL games in his house while he talks about cameras. Yeah. Well, not even cameras. He talks about live streaming. I mean, that's the guy. And then like I'm over here like filming my computer monitor through FaceTime.
I'll tell you what, if you get it down, man, I mean, I've done all different types of productions, from Netflix documentaries to narrative films to commercials, high-end commercials and high-end music videos. The most, like even weddings, like the most money you can make is in live streaming and live production per hour. You honestly, it's like the most stressful type of production in my opinion, and also you rack in money. You can make like 25,000 in a day if you play your cards right with live production and more. I mean,
wait, what?
Yeah, man. You didn't. Yeah, I led a team of 4 people. We were shooting on C300s, and it's really insane that we shot for 3 hours for this Fortune 500 company. And I tell you what, like we definitely, that gig was probably like, it probably cost that company like 70 grand. And we only worked about 3-4 hours, but we were live streaming. And I mean, just doing the math, like live production by far in a way is like the most big hitting money per like hour. Absolutely.
That's fascinating. Particularly in, today's situations, it can't say the words because, YouTube doesn't like those words. But like, it's just, live streaming is becoming more and more important. And in fact, there is another, well-respected educator in filmmaking, Jim Schofield. He runs.
I talk to him all the time, man. He's on those Zoom calls. The one that I invited you to.
Yeah. He's super smart guy. Very, very, smart, and knows a lot of things about the industry. And I popped into their stream, the C47, where they have some whiskey and, shoot the shit with each other.
Yep.
And he just set up his whole studio to educate on live streaming, like today. Like, so he's doing live stream education and stuff.
From home. He has a
that
family,
makes
man.
sense now. That makes sense. Nobody knows how to live stream in any particular type of quality beyond just picking up your iPhone. Number one, you need to know about lighting, and I know that Jem has reviewed a ton of lights, and he's a professional. He gets paid to educate people about filmmaking. So knowing how to light, and knowing how to, knowing how all the technology works, as far as, routing the audio and routing the video and getting your video signals to sync up properly and then go to all the different live streaming platforms. It just seems like there's so much opportunity there that maybe 7 people are capitalizing on. So, it makes sense that that's, one of the highest paid spots right now. How do you find gigs like that? I mean, there's no rule book. There's no training on that.
Well, in my case, I was contracted to do it, and it was, let's just say I kind of got like thrown right into the fire, man. So what happened is, like I was mentioning, we had, I don't want to say 4 cameras or 3 cameras at least. And it was all routed through like 300 foot of SDI up above us, up through the ceiling. Sorry about that.
Don't answer that.
And all the way to a TriCaster. So there was a switcher. There's a guy in the switcher in the back, and we all had headsets, and we were just all like, we're all like talking and communicating with each other. And he's like, all right, camera B, I need you to pan left. Camera C, I need you to tilt. But and then I was in the lead of everything, so I was kind of helping him direct all that stuff. So I was contracted for that job in particular. When I heard about the numbers and kind of like the figures that go into like what it takes to produce that, and then how much it actually like generates revenue wise, I was blown away. But also the amount of stress, because it's a one take wonder, man. You mess up, it's like, that's it, man. You don't get another chance. So I don't know. I want to know that secret sauce too. I've worked with companies like Microsoft, KPMG, and AT&T Kearney, and there's like a lot of budget in that stuff. Like I've done a $2 million gig with Microsoft before in Arizona. It was like a company retreat, and like these kind of opportunities kind of fell into my lap because I got contracted. I was never the one signing off and getting like the big bucks, so I want to know it myself. It's tough stuff though. It's huge teams, and everyone's dialed in. A lot of money.
That's interesting. We got a question in here from Love First. What equipment would I need for a professional budget live streaming setup? Professional. So that's when you put the emphasis on the wrong words there. What equipment would I need for a professional budget live streaming setup or a professional budget live streaming setup? Those are two very different numbers, right?
Yep.
I mean, the Atom Mini, hey, you can live stream and get paid to do it with that, and it's $300. There's not a better deal that exists.
Yeah, I agree.
But make sure you have lights. If you're going to do professional live streaming, you need to know how to light. You need to know how to make the images look good. Just getting the signal on the internet, anyone can do that. They've got phones, right? You need to make it look good. You need to make it sound good. You need to understand audio, how to mic people. I think that there's a lot of channels. Love First, the person that commented this, Aaron Parecki and Photo Joseph are both two great resources for learning about how to live stream. Check them out. Corey, what are you lighting yourself with? It looks like a computer monitor, maybe?
Yeah, that is. I have this beautiful lighting setup, a lava lamp, a 300X, a Nova panel, and some B7Cs. But since I'm on my computer webcam, it's not set up for that. So I guess we just gotta take it as it is for now.
Bro, if you're gonna FaceTime me in the future,
I'll set it up.
I need you to turn some lights on. You can't just light yourself with a dimly lit hacker monitor,
Hey, this is off the cuff. But
what monitor are you lighting yourself with?
What's going on?
What monitor are you lighting yourself with? Right? What monitor is providing this light?
iMac 27-inch.
That's got terrible CRI. Okay, so I measured the CRI, TLCI of my iMac screen versus my LG screen. You want to know what I found? I found that the iMac screen had a CRI of like 64.
Wow.
And TLCI was equally low. SSI didn't even register. The LG monitor, however, was over 90 in all the areas.
That's impressive. I think I might have to get an LG monitor. I'm picking up a PC pretty soon during Black Friday, so hopefully they have some LG monitors on sale.
I mean, if you're gonna spend money on a monitor to light yourself, I think that you're looking in the wrong places.
Hey, why not both though? Right? It'll be a good monitor and a good light, a key light.
David, I'm using the Atom Mini Pro. Corey, what are you live streaming with over here? What's your equipment?
iMac 5K 27-inch webcam.
Okay, so you're streaming to me over FaceTime with iMac.
Yeah.
And by the way, I used FaceTime simply because I know that the audio is digital. It's not through a regular phone call. For that particular purpose, it's usually better with FaceTime. And knowing Corey, I figured he would have a good microphone plugged into whatever he was going to be FaceTiming with.
You got lucky. I plugged this in just today, so you got really lucky. It could have been way worse, so I'll just take the win for that.
Awesome. So we got some questions here real quick before I get you off the phone, if you've got to go or whatever. I hate TriCaster. That's not really a question. It's kind of a fact. What equipment?
They're crazy.
That horrible units, 200, yada yada. No question. Oh, here we go. Question for your guest. Does he recommend Sling Studio for live stream business?
Well, let's put it this way. I mean, for a business, it just depends on your footprint. Like, are you like in your client? I mean, as much as I know about Sling Studio, it's not in the higher tier professional world yet. It's definitely for like smaller agencies or smaller productions, as far as I know. I'm definitely not by any stretch of imagination a pro at live production. I can't give you a super solid recommendation, yes or no. But I mean, I just don't hear a lot of good things about it, and I just don't see the relevance in it in the industry. So I'm gonna say that, judging by that, it's probably not the best.
So I've got a question for you personally. So I've got the Komodo on the way to the studio.
Oh yeah,
I'm super excited. Of course, the title of the stream. It only has SDI out. And so what I'm planning on doing is sticking the Komodo on the Rhino and throwing the, just the Mars transmitter, the 400S Pro with SDI in. and using that, but the delay on that is too high to use as my face talking cam and match it with my audio. So what can I use to get from SDI to the Atom Mini Pro with 0 milliseconds of delay, barring spending, thousands of dollars on an SDI 0 millisecond delay system?
Oh boy, you're asking a cinematographer all these live production questions that I am not qualified to answer.
Well, basically, it's SDI to HDMI. How do I do that?
I mean, okay, so Blackmagic actually sells this little converter box that'll let you put a SDI in and get an HDMI out of it. So you can actually look into that option. And I think that thing's like less than $100. I forgot what it's called, but it's very popular. So I mean that's a good option right there. And Blackmagic doesn't make a watch. I'm pretty sure they do. I just don't know what it's called. It's like an SDI to HDMI converter, I believe. And yeah, I think I've seen it. I just haven't personally used it, but it works.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to go with then. Probably Blackmagic. Yeah, that was my main challenge, because of course I need to get a Komodo so I can just stream in 720p with it.
Yeah, is that what you're streaming in right now?
No, this is 1080p. I was joking.
Oh, okay.
I was memeing because like I said, I'm like the least qualified person to own a RED. Like I don't know. I guess the word I'm looking for is excessive, right? I mean, this is a hobby channel that I run for fun. Yeah. It's not even close to related to my career. I don't derive financial livelihood from it, and it's just a thing that I do for fun. So there's literally no practical reason beyond passionate curiosity to own this camera. So that's why I think that the videos that I make about it are going to be purely from a curiosity and education perspective. Barring all the elitist stuff that you see on the forums. Like if you're wondering about this, you shouldn't own a RED camera. Like, I'm not about that, right? I'm like, this is interesting. How do you go from this to this? How do you not spend $10,000 on hard drives? All the different things. I think that's a different perspective.
Yeah, man. Some people make a career out of it. Some people do it as a hobby. No matter what, as long as you're passionate and you're enjoying it and you're not like conflicting with anybody else. I mean, there's people that are going to have their opinions regardless what you do or how you do it or when you do it, but at the end of the day, you've made a living and a success off of your reviews, off of your channel, off of being, giving out educational content. You are definitely on the right trajectory. And the fact that you've done all that, the validity in what you've done has earned you. That camera has earned you the audience and everything that you've garnered up until this point. So no matter what, there's always going to be a naysayer. You just can't look at those people because they're not in your circle. They're not supportive. There's nothing good coming out of it. You're not looking for their validation or acceptance at all, man. I mean, I think I've watched you for the past over the year that we've been talking, and I'm just really proud of you. And I always give you the blunt truth. And I honestly, coming from a place where I've done this as a career and some place where you've done it as a hobby and something that you've enjoyed, we both find enjoyment and passion out of it, and that's what really drives us to keep elevating our craft and stuff. So I'm really proud of you, man, and I think it's going to be a really cool thing once you get this camera, and you're going to look at it in a different light than I look at it. So it's really enjoyable to like see your progress.
Thank you, Corey. That's super kind. You're making me tear up a little bit, man. I don't deserve kind words like that. There's people in other countries that. They're starving for words like that. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Thank you.
No problem, man. No problem at all.
Super kind. Well, shoot. Thanks for calling in. Next time I get you on here, I'll make sure that it's not such a ghetto rig situation.
Yeah, I'll fix my lighting for. No, dude, we're gonna do it proper next time. Hopefully, I can use my webcam and everything like that.
You know what? How about this? When I get the RED in here, we'll talk about it the whole time while I'm filming myself with the A7S III.
Because did you get your A7S III yet, or did you order it?
Dude, this is. Do you see this? Do you see what this is?
Yeah.
Do you see what that says? Can you see on the stream? That was my my A7. It says A7S III money. So I'm selling off. If anyone else hasn't is tuned in,
it's hilarious.
I'm selling off my whole Nikon Z6 system. Today I sold off the 14 to 30. I'm selling out the 24 to 70 2.8, the Nikon Z6, the Laowa lens. I'm selling everything off. And then I'm using that to go into the A7S III. So that's what this bundle of money is for. We're doing all of them.
That's awesome, dude. I'm looking forward to it. Give me a better heads up next time, and I'll jump on and we'll do this proper.
Thanks for coming in, man. I'll talk to you next time.
See you later.
All right, bye. Here we go. We're back. We're back on. Just us. Well, that was super nice of Corey to hop on and have that little conversation. That guy, he works hard. You know, he works for it. He came out here, he moved out here, didn't know anybody, and he basically just made a career immediately as a cinematographer. He showed up, kicked ass. You know, I'm still in picture-in-picture. There we go. And he's the hardest working person in filmmaking that I've ever met in my life. You know, which is like, you know, for filmmaking, it's like 3 years, but that's like forever on YouTube. So I totally respect what he's got to say. And I really appreciate all the kind things that he said to me. I'm excited to see what he creates, and we're going to bring him back a little bit because he's such a down to earth, real working professional, like makes real stuff. Because I mean, this is just live streams and like a review, like equipment. Like what is that, you know? So he's like the anti-Tommy. He's awesome. All right, so we have about, I'll give us about 5 more minutes here because I'm gonna take off. You know, because it's been an hour and I can't do this for eternity. But I'm gonna try and if you have a question, tag me and ask it now so I don't have to scroll up and go through that, because I know that a lot of stuff happened. And I don't want to disrespect anyone that is still here and has questions, but anyone that's left, I'm just going to abandon those. So please ask your questions again if you have any, so I can answer them before we head off for the night. Oh, and by the way, the autofocus on the XT3 has been upgraded to XT4 levels for free with the firmware update, and I installed it right before the stream. And I just have it in auto mode. It's just going to be, yeah, it's focusing like a boss, you know? It focuses in -7 EV. So it focuses like super far really well. And also we're empty, which is why I'm going to be ending the stream soon tonight. So, all right, let's get some of these questions if there's any. And nobody's here. Richard Copier, never downplay your greatness. Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate that. And everyone says, thank you, Corey, for your insight. Ali Chieto, BM6K or Komodo. Whichever one you can afford. I bought the Komodo, so I can't tell you any different, right? You know, any camera that is less than, how about this? Any camera that costs more than $500 is going to be more than adequate for what you're trying to create if you're still trying to decide between the Blackmagic Pocket 6K and the Blackmagic. I take that back. If you're spending more than $500 on a camera, you should spend an equivalent amount of money on your lighting setup that you do on whatever you spend on your camera setup. So if you're going to be buying a Komodo or a Blackmagic Pocket 6K plus another $3,000 of lights, get the Blackmagic and the lights, because you're going to have significantly more value than you would if you had just bought the Komodo. That's my advice for you. And if you can't afford, well, I mean, if you're asking the BM6K or the Komodo, then you can. So there we go. We're good with that question. Marshall says, Tommy, I think I remember hearing that you can adjust audio delay in the Atom. I think you can. You know what? I just updated the firmware. Is my audio out of sync? No, I think it's probably pretty good. Nope, it's off. It's got to be off. Let's see this. How's this? Are we in sync? Because I wasn't earlier, if that's the case. And also, it only lets you go up to, I think, 8 frames of delay with the Audio Atom software control. Cool, we're in sync. I think, so here we go, a lot of options in that sub 8K range. Yeah, for $8,000, you can get a lot of camera. Paul, thanks for an awesome channel, Tommy. Always great to watch, and thanks for interacting on Twitter too. Looks in sync to me. Thank you, Paul. You're awesome. I love seeing your comments and your likes on my tweets. and your audio is fine, but you were talking to your guests about sync issues with SDI and HDMI. That's right, we were. And we'll scroll up real quick, see if we lost anything. Long SDI XLR runs to okay up to 200 or 300 feet. Interesting. SDI to HDMI microconverter, $45 on B&H. I'm going to check that out. Thank you, Corruptor. That's sounds like a solid buy. And there we go. That's it. Tommy's doing nothing but updating firmware these days, all in sync. Cool. Yeah, man, we've got lots of firmware. So just to follow up, if anyone's come to the stream late, today we're using the Light Panels Gemini 1x1 for the blue wash over here, which is the blue fill. We've got the Nova behind me for the nice orange kind of hair glow behind me. We have the little Lido lights from Nanlite for the little pink outline over there on the whiskey, which is also actually washing a little bit of pink on my cheek over here. And then the Lupo light, the Lupo Super Panel, full color 60 soft with a grid for the whitish outline on my skin there. Those are the lighting we used today. Today we had some we had monkey shoulder. I'm so used to having the bullet bourbon on the stream that it's just kind of become muscle memory to say it. We had monkey shoulder today, and we're done there. And if you're curious, I'm still selling a couple more lights. We've got a couple more Godox lights, the SL200 Mark II, and a couple more on my Gear Focus shop. Here's the interesting thing. I'm making a video about my experience with Gear Focus pretty soon. I set up a shop because I was doing the fire sale to afford the Komodo and also clear out some space to have actual room in my studio to walk around. And I put up a ton of gear on Gear Focus on like Thursday, Friday, maybe. And I sold like $5,000 of gear in the first day. So Gear Focus, if you're trying to sell gear, I guess, so the guy that owns it, he calls and verifies everybody that signs up to like make sure that they're a legitimate person. And he does like basically borderline police detective work to make sure that every sale is legitimate. And I talked to the owner, and I'm doing some work with him on a programming skill now, just because that's my career, and I saw some things that we could work on together. But he does like detective work on all of the sales that go through his shop. And he like calls the police departments of local towns and reports fraudulent activity on credit cards. So I've sold some of the gear that I'm selling on Craigslist, sold some of it on Facebook Marketplace, and I've sold some of it on Gear Focus. And the easiest way to sell stuff so far has been Gear Focus because it's completely hands off and you just ship it. With Craigslist and Facebook, I've had cancellations, no-shows, and ghosts, and low balls, and Gear Focus is just like a shop. So anyways, I've got a couple more lights for sale on there if you want some affordable, or if you're looking for new lights that have been used once for a video. I'll put a link to that in the chat if you're following along here. Here we go. Really hard link to remember, gearfocus.com/tommy.html. Anyways, that's what I'm using for the gear that I am getting rid of. And there we go. That's it. If I'm sorry I didn't have a video that was produced over the past week for you guys. We'll have one this weekend. It's going to be about my own frustrations of buying and selling used gear. And also, my positive experiences buying used gear as well, because the Rhino Arc II is a used piece of gear. The Sigma 18-35 that I use is a used piece of gear that I bought years ago. You can get good used gear. You can get crappy used gear. And it's just it's a thing that you need to know in this industry. Gear doesn't stay new forever, and you grow out of pieces of gear. That's just part of our industry. So anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. This was a fun stream. It's fun to have that surprise guest. Thank you, Corey, for showing up. And we're out. Talk to you guys next time.